And we are back. Lower round 2 has concluded, which means shortly we can get underway with lower round here for Valorant Challengers. Are you guys ready? We got to see some sick Valorant.
I mean, dude, I'm tired
on account of the fact that I just sat for an hour waiting for these guys to finish their games. I'm extremely chomping at the bit. I'm ready.
How come nobody could play like the rankers right now, dude? So could actually get into this series right now. So I'm actually happy. I was getting very, very impatient. Also very tired because I'm old. So let's get it going before I fall asleep during the cast.
We can't have the boomer falling asleep here, guys. So we'll keep this rolling. Let's pull up the brackets. So if you're just tuning in, you can kind of see how things have been shaking up on the day. We got to see that upper finals first, and yeah, pretty strong victory for Rikers. We know that. 2-0 moving on. Blue Otters, I mean, if you're looking for a match in that lowers to kind of be finishing up a little bit sooner rather than later, I mean, Vange, you got the wish there. It was the YFP SAD Esports match that went the distance, but YFP, that's who we're going to see next.
Yeah, it also breaks my heart at the same time, too, because I'm always going to say going from challengers to challengers as SAD Esports, the players playing behind that and the players representing this org are also from the Northwood University. They also had like a big run back in like 2022 going through the Red Bull Campus Clutch. It's nice to see that they stick together, and usually the formula around Valorant is if you're able to stick together, you're able to work things out and go for a deeper run. But just unfortunately, something happened, some roadblock where they can't really get into that line where they could cross that line of finish to actually make a mark in the scene. So it's just unfortunate they had to lose against the stellar IGLing of YFP, and then unfortunately they're out.
Not bad, Vans. I'll give you that one. Yeah, I think like we are talking about teams that like stick together and look for the results. That's kind of what YFP are doing here, right? And if you looked at the bracket coming into this tournament, you look at them as being like one of the favorites, right? I wouldn't have had Blue Waters there. They qualified through freaking Premier. Guys, they qualified through Premier to get to this tournament. They were like, that is the wild card team coming in here. And looking at it, like you see TSM and YFP in this tournament, you really feel like those are going to be the strongest teams. Well, YFP and TSM end up playing against each other very, very early on, and then Blue Water actually eliminate TSM entirely. So that's the Premier team, knocking things basically on their head. Now, there are very known names on this, Blue Otter team, especially to us that have been part of challenges this year, but that's still really impressive because they not only take care of TSM, they 2-0 Winthrop, who were also, I'd say, like a top 3 favorite, just on paper to win this whole thing.
At least on stage 3, because anything leading into like the regular season for Winthrop was not the cleanest Valorant that we've ever seen. Also very hyped up that they went through the open bracket and like the gauntlet to make it to that point, but ever since they started the season, it didn't turn out too well. But you bring an interesting... I'm sorry?
From challenges? Didn't Winthrop lose in the relegation?
We don't want to talk about that. I think they lost like lemonade stand.
It's in the past. It's in the past. We don't have to bring that one up anymore.
Irrelevant.
Let's talk about a team that's done a little bit of winning, all right? At least winning in that last match. Let's talk about YFP. Uber, we got to see this team play out yesterday, and a team that going into this, if you talk about teams that the expectations are on, YFP, I mean, the expectations were there, knocked down to lowers early, but hey, just went out from there, right?
Absolutely. Sure. I mean, they had to fight through some pretty tough games. They beat TSM, they go up against Rankers, and all of a sudden, we don't stream that game, right? I think we are actually on the other upper semi-final. So this is all going down while we're busy casting moobs, play Rainer or something ridiculous, some ridiculous pick on a map that doesn't belong in. But YFP, their own path, like they obviously had to go up against SAD Esports in their previous game, and it's another hard-fought game. I mean, I really thought Physic has been sick over this tournament. Really enjoyed what we've seen from them. Guy feels like he has a Zippo in his front pocket. He's getting shots, getting back up. It's like, oh, save my life. This guy.
Actually, I was a hand warmer from Zippo.
Oh, thank you. You reckon they're that durable? I don't know, man. We need to do the crush test on it. You've got quite a grip on you, Van.
There's like a full pallet at Costco every time I walk by one, and I'm like, man, maybe I should get... The amount of times that I'm casting challengers that I'm getting owned by the Zippo commercial, I'm like, maybe at some point I need to convince my wife that I'm going to get one of those hand warmers.
Are they paying you guys extra for this right now? Like, what's going on?
I mean, how do you think I remodeled my basement?
What? Setting your house on fire and then building a new basement?
A flood.
Oh, okay. I thought it was going to be Zippo relevant. You know what I mean?
No,
you had me in the first half, bro.
Did you jump into water in the commercial? Who knows?
I think that's the opposite of where we want that sponsorship money to go right there.
No, it's waterproof. They're waterproof.
True. Okay, YFP, lower round 3, meeting up now against Blue Otter. We are losing the script here so fast, guys. But this Blue Otter squad, we haven't gotten to see them on the main broadcast yet either, but when you're looking at the players, I mean, we've seen these players. I mean, especially Vans. I mean, everyone talks about Bob all the time, as we should. But across the board, like, this team has been putting up wins, and honestly, really strong ones at that.
That's the thing too, and Bob is, I think, the recent addition to this roster as well. And the most fun part about this storyline is that Bob, we always think about her as like this Sova player back in like the Game Changers days with Cloud9 White and like the Magical team. But ever since she went into joining this Blue Otter team, she's been switching over to the main duelist role, replacing Paint, who was actually the main duelist for this team before, a team that kind of stuck together as well since the Red Bull Homegrounds, trying to qualify through that. And then Paint, I think, had the opportunity of joining MXS, so they needed to find a new duelist, and they found great success actually with Bob. If you're looking at it, unfortunately, like, again, MXS did not qualify through groups, and then you're looking at Bob joining this team, and it's just like, we made it further than what Paint could have done with us too. And that's bittersweet on the side of Blue Otter. And again, it's another one of those moments where challengers in this stage 3, it's a free-for-all, but there's just so many good upsets that ends up bringing into good storylines to potentially even good teams going into 2025.
Yeah, and even in the loss to Rankers, I mean, Bob's performance was just outstanding. So Bob on this duelist, I am absolutely loving it. I am here for it. And if Bob is putting up the numbers like she has been in the other series, I mean, this is going to be an absolutely dangerous one for YFP. I mean, when you look across the board, even when Bob was more so playing the Sova, always the pinnacle of consistency. So seeing that now,
100%.
we get Yoru, we get Neon, amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously pretty excited about this. Bob, she's obviously a great duelist, also Australian, so big shout out to the country woman. But yeah, look, like the ACS, obviously, I think her average ACS is like 250 on the Neon anyway. But she's she's made a huge impact. I feel like back on SAD Esports in challenges, we saw a lot more like, so am I crazy? Like Sova play from her, but I mean, in general,
I'm pretty
like,
sure, yeah.
Yeah. But she was incredible there as well, right?
Yeah.
But now has the opportunity to make a really big impact. It looks like this Neon meta, this Neon Yoru meta has been really good for her. So yeah, I expect to see her pop off here. She does get to take on her previous teammates on that SAD team. Obviously, Bob and Zostal, come across as a half of that SAD roster joining this team here. So I was kind of hoping for that matchup here. But YFP, we need to have a look at this team as one who struggled through challenges for much of the year and achieved middling results. Like, this is really how they'd like to cap it off. And instead, they're looking at the upper bracket with these young Zoomers, these cracked aimers from Ranked that are getting into the grand final and going, are we washed? Like, what was going on here? They've got to fight their way back up into that finals match.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing with Bob as well. I think it naturally almost felt like she had to get the axe over with SAD Esports. I mean, I'm just speculating at this point, but if I'm thinking about it, when Dip kind of joined as the IGL for the team, he's pretty much like, we talk a lot about a lot of one streaks, but Dip's been doing a lot of Sova until he finally like deepened the map pool or his agent pool a little bit later on. But overall, if he's going to be taking the main role as a Sova, then naturally Bob is going to have to play sometimes Sova, most likely second initiator. But now that she's able to go into roles where, I've never expected this coming in from Bob actually in the first place, to see the spaces she's able to create, to go toe-to-toe against some high duelists, and also to not be afraid to just overheat and finding great value in entries as a Neon. I'm actually putting a lot of stocks actually into Bobsta moving forward.
Yeah, this Bob to Penny head-to-head that we're going to see, so ready for it. So let's head over to the maps. See, we're heading for this. See if we're going to get a couple of those, crazy Neon maps where we could maybe see a little bit of shenanigans going on for today. Not Abyss, not Haven. All right, Uber, we're kicking it off on Ascent.
Okay, I mean, this is fine. I think YFP, happy to start on defense here, but this is like a good map so far for Blue Waters. I think they're 4-1 on Ascent in general. Seeing Sunset picked up to follow it up is not a huge surprise. YFP look really good there. It's been an okay map, right, for Blue Waters. They played Neon, nothing sort of too crazy outside of that here. And Split, I think, is a big coin toss as the decider. I don't even know if Blue Water have even played that map here in challenges yet. So it always is a wild card, and I always feel like the team choosing that one, or rather the team that allows that one to stay in the pool here, feels favored. So yeah, I'm curious to see what Ascent looks like, because if YFP get off to a great start here, then it could be over in a 2-0 if they are feeling confident on Sunset.
I could definitely see a map 3 coming as well. I mean, Sunset, everybody could play it. I think if it's not Ascent, the next one is Sunset because it's just the main one that people take advantage of the neon as much as you could. But if we get to a point where it goes on to Split, where we haven't had a chance to see Blue Water play that yet, it's a good opportunity actually, because they had tape on how Rankers played against YFP yesterday, and Rankers played it with the Yoru. And if that's going to be an agent that also Bob likes to play now under this roster, it also gives them a huge advantage on how they're able to play such a strong defense, like, for example, just like Rankers did versus YFP, because YFP had no answer on their attack side on how they could take middle control against both a Viper and a Clove, while you have like this Yoru rotating across the map. So this could be something very interesting, and I'm looking forward to that, to see that, you know, maybe from a standpoint from YFP, that it was a fluke that they lost that to Rankers, for example.
Worth pointing out that these are the 2 maps that Blue Waters just played. They just played these in their series against Winthrop, where they played the Yoru Deadlock comp on Ascent. Bob was like 7-1, first kill, first death, like, you know, 259 assists, like a very, very, very good game in general. So they should be ready for this. I think we're going to see like a real test of fundamentals here. I think both of these teams stand on equal footing in that regard, or relatively so. Maybe it's the experience of YSP that sort of carries them through this first map especially. But it's good honest Valorant here. I'm hoping for a third map because I'm looking for something a little bit different in Split to see what these 2 teams have up their sleeves, especially YFP.
Yeah, how many times have we seen Ascent throughout our day and a half of tournament so far? Just every single time, every single side stream, something along those lines.
Yeah, a million times. But
yeah.
I want a 1-1 because I'm pretty sure that YFP play Vice on Split. So
yes,
that's fun.
Yes, that was the other thing too.
Most teams are only playing it on Abyss here, so you can kind of see like the applications are pretty similar, but you know, against the, you know, comps that normally feature Raze and not Jet, we've seen like how Vice is good at shutting down the fast Jet hits. I'm curious to see what the application is against like a Raze comp, for example. So yeah, I'll take a 3 mapper just on the basis of curiosity here.
I was just gonna try to like say that the Vice 2 is like something that even EG pulled out during like was it the Ludwig or the Sentinels one, either or. But Ye was actually playing that Vice on that as well, which is actually very good to take control of the top B. But when you're playing against the double controller that Rankers had, that kind of like just threw them for a loop. That said, we'll cross that bridge when we cross that bridge to see if we're going to be able to fight against that Vice. There's still 2 maps to play in the first place. That's the most common maps, so there's an opportunity of still a 2-0 from either team. Yeah,
and heading into our agent select for Ascent here, it might be a couple of the other usual Sentinels that we just get to see coming on out. I mean, we've got to see both of these throughout the tournament. So yeah, seeing the Cypher, seeing a Deadlock here, Vans, not really seeing too much surprises.
Yeah, I think at some point during the mid-season, we're like, oh, it's cool, man, a Deadlock, and then a Yoru, oh, there's no more KO, this is so sick. But then it's just like, okay, well, now that's kind of almost like common, where there's a good 2 or 3 type of like meta comps that you can really play around this this map right now. I still find it a disadvantage going into this map lies onto YFP side, because they're playing a Jet still instead of a Yoru, so they have a lot less flashes and less capabilities of like retaking, but they still make it somewhat work in their games. As you can see, they're still 100% under comp pick, but not always the best on winning.
We'll have to see if Blue Otter with this Yoru in Bob's hands can go ahead and take this map 1, or YFP, how it's going to shake up for Ascent. So I'll let you get to it. I'll see you guys soon.
Thank you very much, Sierra. Yeah, and obviously you make a really important point there, Vance. It's a double Sentinel composition for both sides, and with a Jet, you are extremely flashlight. You're using your controller util to try and break up the map and take space behind it, but eventually if you have to pop, you have to contact. That's where you can be really susceptible. Whereas obviously the Aura gives you a lot for those little, you know, pop plays. You can obviously flash yourself in, and Dimensional Drift is great for info gaining. So we're going to jump into the pistol here. YFP on defense. They are the ones, of course, with the Jet and not Yoru. That'll be Jake trying to play her in that one way, but has to clear that recon and is forced off the line.
And just by breaking it, it allows for you to get the shock dart very quickly and then push them away. So a very good start for Blue Otter. The quick tempo for a split into the A side. Not sure they're going to be ready for this until this wall comes down. Great timing coming out from Stellar. I mean, he is the mastermind IGL for a reason.
Yeah, he's got a great feel for it because he doesn't really get tipped off by anything in particular. He just needs to know that this is the timing. So Zeke's going to have to try and clear this now. Cybercage also to sort of protect from a push out of grass, but it's not there. Bob's going to move up here. GravNet you see deployed over towards the side. Another
Penny on the
recon that
flank.
has to be respected as there's a smoke in the way, but Penny has a flank timing here. Catches out Bob, and this is a good start. But Blue Water's able to hold it down. Now they know they've got to go forwards into the site with a clock. And they know there's a player up towards Heaven here as well.
One enemy remaining.
And that's it. Easy as
Easily.
you like.
Super nice from Blue Water. And that's something that's just very simple as when Blue Waters, yes, is getting stopped by a wall and they're breaking this and they're still not getting too much pressure coming out from YFP, you have to expect that there's going to be a stall from the side of the defenders right into the A site so that they could probably activate some sort of a late backstab. So great on Blue Waters. As soon as they break the wall, start brute forcing in, making sure that you have power of numbers for those players that are anchoring and delaying in the back of the site. The door has already been closed. Yes, you lost a player in the first place, but Penny cannot do more after that first kill. He's the only one that resulted in a kill in that pistol round, while the rest of Blue Water kind of just worked together. And you're starting to see here like the aggression coming out, and it's a super easy kill for Bob. This is a full classic round here for YFP as well. But this is one of the things that, you know, it has to be important where for a Yoru on this defensive side, you could actually do these solo pushes on that line and just TP away. But then for a Jet, yes, you could do it by activating a dash. But if you activate the dash and there's nobody there, you've wasted it. At least for Bob as a Yoru, you still have a second gate crash. So it allows for you to get those repeats, which is very strong. Again, when you don't have like that KO in your concept platform of repeat for you.
I mean, that's the punishment I get for not letting you talk in the pistol vans. I'll keep that in mind in the future. my bro. Anyone order a yapperoni?
Let me color this for you. Okay, well, they're still holding in B main with pistols, Vans. Back to you. I mean, it would have been the same thing, bro.
No, you're right. Especially, we've got a round here where the Marshal was brought up against unarmored targets here, and you know, Bob was able to use the camera to potentially soak a sheriff shot and just sit behind that. So, Blue Waters are very much chilling and finding so many of those kills there into towards B main. Jake has to probably surmise here that we might actually see a rotation off that over towards A.
Yeah, at least if they're able to get a plan, at least that's something, right? That's something to go for their side. Grabbing orb control, I think that's also very good too on the attack. Keep the money up for the team. Oh, you're screwed.
Get your money up, baby. That's it. Heard that from NPC Miles Morales. He was right.
Oh my god. I was just trying to remember what are the words that he would say too. Like, I'm strong.
Don't mention the next
I don't
part.
know. I'm not gonna get into
Get
that.
your money up is the only safe for consumption part of that phrase.
but at least you saw it from controlling from the map from left to right, right? So getting these picks, getting Zeke the opportunity to pick up these orbs, getting a plant, getting the last kill too as you're baiting the last person towards the door. So you have now annihilation on your bonus round, which is going to be huge here for a take on the A side. It's even weak side on YFP. There's only an Omen there. Yes, the one way is not going to do too much. They're already peeking into that. Now you have to react very quickly here on the pressure that Blue Waters is currently bringing here towards A main.
For a second, it looked like Bob might end up getting inserted there over towards Wine, but
My ult's ready.
you know, the gate crash that you throw out can be seen. So Blue Waters don't really opt to commit there. There is obviously the concern vans that have to deal with the node and over towards the B side of the map here. I like the little angle there from Zostall up in mid. Unfortunately, the Outlaw only has 2 targets to turn into one shots, and YFP don't really care to contest mid.
Yeah. But the thing is like giving up the pressure to fight back towards A
Revealing
main.
area.
Look at the extra objective that was taken. Bob now picks up the dimensional drift. She can now use it into the B main, figure out where the Cypher could be, so maybe they could wrap him up. If they wrap him up, that's all that util gone too.
All right. Well, he is in amongst it on that B side. Potentially being able to emerge there from Boathouse, calling a clone instantly. So already some pressure coming from the backside here, but Physic is holding it down. I think Blue Waters are getting a little bit scattered by that one, and great timing from B. Here's the TP go across, interrupts, and gets the spike drop loose. Stella there also emerges. Great GravNet play in the second. Some beautiful spray prediction down through those boxes. YFP get onto the board. Not always a great feeling to lose the pistol on the defense side, but they hold into a lot of guns here, winning their first round.
And it was important for Thief to have the perfect pathing to avoid this Yoru that was ulting into the site. I think it was a slight mishap actually for Bob to go down towards the lane, because you're looking at the rest of the team that's behind that. Nobody really is able to scale back within the site or really fight towards logs or fight towards the trip or the switch. So to not clear that area, to make sure that the stairs is not clear, it really allowed here for Zeke to come, or for Thief to come through, and then also for the Odin from Physic to just lay a hail of bullets into B main. No opportunities to gain control, but at least they still have the annihilation into their gun rounds for Blue Otter again, continuing this conditioning one more time. Double pressure back towards the A main, but there's a sonic sensor from Stellar that just holds up the side. Kind of like this though. The way that they're playing like the smoke with the sonic sensor. So you're forcing out util. If people are going to try to run through with the, let's say, an owl drone to fight, you get stunned by their sonic sensor, and then you're able to fight back on the defensive side. But there's two sonic sensors there, so they're just playing the same chess match.
Zeke was lit there for a moment now. I wonder if Bob asks for more. That's a passive shoulder peek. Bob can actually get the drop on Physics here. Check it, they won't be ready for this at all. Love that. Bob gets straight up mid. Not spotted out by Physic. But again, Stella with fantastic util usage. A grab net pick up there on Welly. It's all too easy. And a great little adjustment there for Bob to claim Penny. Annihilation time is ticking there over on the side, but Bob is playing aim labs over here in the middle of the map. She found 3 in the round, and that's probably going to be enough.
30 seconds left.
As now Blue Otters are going to head over to the side. Tito could be a problem. They don't know where he is until now. He emerges, and it gets a little bit awkward. Not able to complete the killers. Now Jake gets cut down by Zostal.
Over there.
And that'll be Blue Otters with another on the board.
That's Thief a second time that's able to dance around and almost finding a second surprise here around the dice, but unfortunately just whiffed 2 jiggle peeks right into an opponent in front of him and one onto the lane. I think he saw both at the same time, hesitated, and just decided to whiff between both of them. But the main story is definitely Bob. The way that she opened up that site towards the middle, breaking the trip, not having a camera to see how many players are actually spotted through. You're forced to rotate back, but it was a little bit too late here from Physic, and you're able to sit through the whole defensive line and even drop 3 players in the process. That makes it so much easier for Blue Otter to capitalize on the round. The tempo moving up, a kill from Bob up towards the tree as they tried to go for the sneaky Odin play with the recon dart, but that's a great start once again for Blue Otter.
It's risky. I mean, YFP had to have known that there was a outlaw floating around. I think Zostal had it previously. And Bob's able to punish that attempted setup there. And frankly, Vans, Blue Waters weren't really set up in tiles anyway.
Yeah, good on them to to stay back in that point, but there was only one player there, and it's Bob. And I had mentioned before, if she was going to get punished or if she didn't get a timing and they got the Odin spray, she could have TP'd out. So it's nice for them to continue to leverage your duelist to try to get that information. When you don't have a KO to throw a knife to find that second wave of info around the recon dart.
All right, Physic removes the grav net there. They were happy to be crouched on that angle with the Odin, but they didn't know with that cyber cage up who would be crossing. So Blue Water's able to tempt some shots out of them there. Not a lot to work with here in this round. Bear in mind, Penny only really has the bucky. And then drifting back over towards the B side here with Thief, whilst Blue Waters with
30 seconds
players
left.
get ready to hit this A site, and it's only going to be Stella. Able to avoid the paranoia here. He knows it's about to get a little bit busy. Shoots it first. It gives up that position. Tries the annihilation here. That does catch Zeke. Stella a little bit hard to see. That cocoon does need to be broken. Zeke is released back into the wild now as Zeke just runs into the Odin at the top of heaven.
Trying to get the spray too on the default spot. Easy plant now. Weapons are now picked up to try to save into the next round unless they catch Penny here and is able to pull back for a bit.
I think this will be just a little bit of a brief foray here, but the Odin's a valuable gun and the money is not there for YFP. Just the one round, I think round 3 that they picked up, but since then, they've had to play on a knife's edge money-wise.
Yeah. Just a beautiful scaling done by Blue Otters after getting that first pick. So realizing that the Odin's playing towards the A side, they already got the punish onto Jake. And you still wanted to try to create some sort of pressure towards middle to keep those players out so that nobody could really swing from market. But after they get towards a spot and they get full control towards tree, before even entering it and letting themselves know that they're about to execute, they didn't show themselves. They focused more on a recon dart in front of the site. They don't have to worry about A main when they go for the full hit, because this whole time we talked about that sonic sensor, and Zostal's also spotted there. Just anchor up that spot to make sure nobody's pushing them towards A main and to counter push the defensive side for YFP to take control of A main. So they have full reign to, you know, play against a YFP that's being a little bit more reactive and they take full space control. That was superb. As we go into round number 6, and that rifle and the Odin that was saved in the previous round, looks like it's not going for any type of wallbang sprays. They want to try to anchor up more towards the A side and give a lot of responsibility to Teep, sorry, with a Sheriff.
Right, he's going to challenge this. A main fight here. Is he going to emerge here? Stella. Okay, the flashes made things a little bit confusing, but that's the difference with this Yoru comp against the Jet setup. You have the ability to make these entries behind a flash. Penny gets away with it there, of course, as that's just the Outlaw doing Outlaw things. Penny was armored up, so it goes down to 10.
I almost felt it was red in the first place. It was just a throw from the get-go from a net with the flash. It wasn't really anticipating on contact, and they were just hoping that people would push forward, and he caught 2 in the process. It's a great start here.
Sondex there, just great jiggle peaks after removing the Cypher cam. Made it impossible for Thief to play off that at all. We are getting a little bit low on time now. That is the concern. Ultimately, it might have to be a flood from this Blue Otters composition, but again, getting this wall set up will be handy. And I think it's awkward for Penny. They're stuck on the wrong side of it, and they're down to 10 HP. They are in a very awkward spot, but they find a timing here to interrupt the plant and tuck this corner. Penny is doing so much with so very little. Zeke has to deal with his jet, and eventually Penny goes down. Zostal's able to pick them up here. Zeke at 3 HP, still no plant yet. Keep track of that. Smoke over towards that top side here. Physic trying to interrupt and hits a fat shock dart on Zeke, who is very, very low. But there is the spike down. It is a gun advantage for Blue, but a player advantage for YFP. And this door's about to get broken. Zostal not ready for what was waiting on the other side. Apparently, as Jake's going to be able to take the frag, and now the neural theft will reveal Shondex's location. Awkward now to try and clutch out from this position. Should be an easy double swing here to deal with the last remaining player. Shondex almost broke it up, but not enough.
Ends up being a good round towards the end for YFP. Again, they had the Laura by. The execution was perfect once again for Blue Otters to move into the site. But what really was the fumble was Zeke trying to chase after Penny at 10 HP, but he only had like 3 bullets left in the clip. So he tries to go for a drive-by spray, runs out of bullets, is caught on a reload, and thankfully Zostal was there to save him, but he made it out with like 10 HP. So that's less bodies to hold into the pulse plan, as Zeke even got hit by a shock dart. And YFP, again, we talked about just one single Sheriff that was holding towards that B side, but at least he had a neural theft. I think he picked up the orb too to allow for them to get the ult orb and spot the last player. But Blue Otters, they want to tempo it up again. They spawn one towards market.
Oh, the combo off the grab net was absolutely massive. Bob has gotten into market now. And what's the response going to be here for YFP? It's going to be Zostal keeping into Boathouse. Risky business. Pulls out eventually. And Zeke is just waiting. Jake just serves himself up there. Not expecting a player outside of Bob to be over towards that market area. And now Penny's just going to throw himself at it. Stella's on the site. No plant, of course. Blue Otters get out of here. They're surmising correctly that the deadlock was sat there on B.
Both deadlocks are playing quite well. I think I remember back from YFP's pistol round, even if they lost it, Stellar did a great job just stalling towards that A site with his util. But the value that Zeke has been getting in the last 2 rounds with these grab net throws that he's getting, first off towards the A main to get all these trades, and secondly, as you've mentioned before, just catching the Odin Silva just towards that market, right where Bob got a free kill. And for them to add so much chaos right into that spot and still have inserts of lurks around the map, they're really outplaying YFP on their attack side so far for Blue Otters.
Standing ahead.
Just the radius of GravNet is so massive, Vans, that you can deploy that without too much risk. It doesn't obviously turn off your guns, but it obviously does mean that you are rooted in place virtually. Jake very low after that. It's way down. A lot of value to be gained here by Welly. They want to say, okay, we're happy enough with this. I think Jake's actually mixing it up, getting into wide. I like this, but I don't know how he's really going to springboard off this position into anything more.
I also like the control, grabbing the orb here for Zeke, and then they give the orb to Welly, who usually Zeke is a planner, and what a pick by those feet.
Shondex just on the move that whole time there. Maybe just jump scared a little bit by the player sat there with the Sheriff. So sloppy play here for Blue Otters now after a decent opening with some good damage on Jake. Losing 2 players now. These pistols and that. Stella with the util use has been pretty bloody good.
So many good openings from both of these deadlocks, but somehow just like the not necessarily global rotate.
Oh, okay. I mean, that is the Odin play that Thief is shooting out there. A little bit risky.
30 seconds left.
Penny tucked in this corner now with the Blade Storm. Zostal, though, has about it. That's crazy. Okay,
That's
this
insane.
round might still be on. 22 seconds left, so very short on time, but Welly quickly pulling out of that B side of the map here. Jake might look to disrupt and actually has picked up a rifle somewhere along the way. This could end it right here. Find the right timing.
Enemy
Welly's
remaining.
footsteps were heard, and that'll be the spike
Spike
drop.
down
No
mid.
chance for a plant now, and Zostal knows it. Walking straight into a paranoia. It's all about exits and a bit of pride at this rate.
Thrifty.
Neither would gain. No exits, no pride.
And another round that was a low buy for YFP. This time, even a full thrifty for them to win. I thought it was going to be a great 2v2 when Zostal made it towards middle and Welly's full rotating. Because I noticed that Zostal started walking towards the fountain. I'm like, okay, well, perfect. They're going to bait out Welly so that Welly could run across. And as soon as Jake comes across the smoke, Zostal is going to pick him. But Zostal decided to move forward and just leave the spike by himself. And Big Bean just went through the smoke and literally popped the bean off Welly's head. So that was a big pick that allowed YFP to win off the time, and a little bit of an overcook after Blue Waters were able to get some good control towards A main at the very beginning. But again, I've mentioned Thief, that Sheriff battle that he had against Shondex was probably the kickstart that allowed YFP to win that thrifty.
That being said, 5 attack side rounds here for Blue Waters. They've got to be feeling pretty upbeat about this.
It's a lineup here.
Yeah, might be the same play.
Yeah.
Right here.
Maybe like a Gravnet thrown in here from mid instead of from B main. That would be wild. I mean, that guy Crash is going to be there for a while. Bob might actually opt to walk up mid here. There's not a lot. There's no
My
KJ
ult is
alarm or
ready.
anything. Okay, what? Shondex just takes the fight there, and again, there's no opportunity for a follow-up at all. Now it's getting a little bit messy. Bob does get in there, but eventually is brought down inside market. There's some step to the B side here for Zeke at least. And yeah, after that cyber cage goes up, they straight up walk across. I like that decisiveness, but the side's been reinforced by Jake.
My territory, mine.
Okay, Annihilation. Yep, that catches Stella. They gave themselves away trying to shoot the ball there. Thief trying to interrupt here, but Jake, crucially, able to assist from the back of that B side. And nothing really working for Blue Waters this round, Vans.
At least they're able to backpedal back into the A side. This time they're staying as a group. So yeah, I still love the scaling towards the B side. Just trying to cross that line again down into the B side is what's slowing them down. And speaking of slowing down, this is going to be Nano
10
Swarm, a
seconds
trip
left.
finally gets broken. So at least the fight will be there.
Last player standing.
Oh, Zostal, it's a decent spot to post up in, but it would have been overwhelmed by YFP players. Either way, there's an acceptable buy here in the next round for Blue Waters. Already getting to 5 rounds is pretty good. Also, a Hunter's Fury available if they want to try and play around that. Over Welly, Nana knows it. Penny gets in there with a shorty. The YFP get their 4th.
Yeah, so we saw at least like the attempt that what Blue Waters is trying to do, trying to scale up on that map. You mentioned the grab net that were thrown from B main before. They could go through the window onto the net, but he has another lineup that he could throw just like a KO knife. It's going to land right through the roofing of the market, root towards the bottom, and then you'll have the TP come up from Bob. And she has a lineup coming in from top mid so that they could get market control. So these crunches that they're doing are not only on dimensional drifts. And it really had to come down to whatever recon that Physic was using, or any shots he was doing. Then they would hear the audio cues and probably go for that exit. But with him just staying fairly quiet at the beginning of that market spot, and you already see them ping towards that spot, they're like, okay, we got to be careful for these. We know these type of crunches now. So Blue Waters, maybe for the last few rounds, they have to change their look.
This time, Blue Waters playing a little bit further off this B side. Giving it a lot of space, in fact, just the Cypher can to be played on. Both Sentinels just absolutely being chilling. I mean, the Deadlock Wall already deployed over at B. So there's a re-clear opportunity a little bit later on for that Sentinel duo. But elsewhere, map control only just beginning to be taken, and it's actually Zeke trying to get up mid solo here. Obviously, just the Sheriff player, so maybe considered a little expendable here. Likely to run into Stella's crosshairs in the next couple of moments. Able to get out alive and even get a decent shot off there. Hey, don't complain about that.
Who's next?
Now you get dimensional drift, looking to a main, probably even TP towards tree to see what's going on there. They did a good job breaking all this util before coming in.
Well, this is awkward. Is there going to be an emergence from the drift here by Bob? They don't know, I think, who's up on Heaven. Welly gets legged there. Oh, it's tough for Penny, but they take a second shot, gets Zostal instead. Welly at 1 HP, though, still able to get involved. 5 rather, still low
30
enough.
seconds left.
Jake now wants to emerge, gives their position away. That clone still catches players out in moments like this. So that was well handled. Jake, great composure, albeit not enough bullets able to lock it down for 3, and we have an even game on our hands.
Yeah, I was going to say they did a great job breaking all the
Just,
util, but it was the camera in the very beginning that they chipped down and then forced a little bit of overreaction out of YFP when you saw that the noise that they were making, the dink that they got up onto Stellar. There was an slightly over rotate coming back here from Tree, but then once the hit came through and they didn't allow here for Blue Otter to give enough time for YFP to go for the full rotate. Well, YFP still had too many numbers here inside that site, and playing passively around the op is a great thing. That something that Penny hasn't really brought out the whole half, so this is now identified by Blue Waters as well, and maybe they have a plan set for this to play against the op 2, take advantage of that, or maybe avoid it at the same time. You have to think about an Odin towards B main. You have to think about an op potentially towards middle or towards cat, and that might be once again one of those great opportunities to play for that net grab, the net TP that Bob and Zeke kind of does, take control towards market, so they could really flush out Penny or Physic playing towards that spot.
Crucial timeout here for Blue Water as they still let the last few rounds drop. Again, having 5 in the back pocket already a pretty good sign, but they're definitely starting to struggle here. We saw that like aggressive posturing from YFP on the B side, forcing both of the Sentinels out, and then when your round kind of hinges on Zeke exploring up mid with the Sheriff, like you probably know you're not really going to be reinventing the wheel. And obviously Dimensional Drift committed there for ultimately no result. There's one little Cypher trip. Catches up Blue Waters as they try and go in. Anyway, we move on. Round 11. Full buy here for Blue Waters.
Potentially even try to put Penny down the line too. So even not wasting out any of this of the Silva util to try to get that line forward. That'll be perfect here. Hunter's Fury on the defensive side. So you see here that Physics playing very close towards spawn to assist on both ends with the Hunter's Fury.
They've actually put a trap wire here in mid. This is a little unconventional. Normally that util is committed to the sides here, but Zostal can get across it. In theory, Bob can.
Cover going out.
Like this slow mid and break it straight away. Yeah, that's going to be the plan. 3 players up mid now. This is definitely going to get alarm bells ringing on the Blue Waters, or rather on the YFP side of things. Spike is over towards the B side of the map. And honestly, Willie doesn't have much to do with it for now.
They don't have to only overreact here with the Hunter's Fury yet, because Penny still has the line on the operator. So again, this is just Blue Water manipulating the map, but they think they forced to rotate. There's still 3 players here on A site.
Hunter's Fury here for Physic. Thinks that they've sniffed something out. Look at Welly right across the map there. Bit of damage on Shondex, and Jake so good at taking these challenges. They're traded out there by Zeke. There's pressure from A main, and he wasn't ready for it. And also, their Physic wasn't in position at the time to stop that. Oh, Bob just sees a little bit of thief poking around the box. That could be a huge kill now. Penny quickly tries to get up the upside, and he gets to heaven first. Welly at 31. Penny didn't quite know where they were looking, but had enough time. And it will be another defuse here for YFP. It looks like Vans, they finally, maybe a little bit too late, gotten a feel for this Blue Waters attack side.
Yeah, and it's off a timeout too, coming in from YFP's end to start feeling it and feeling the groove of how Blue Waters are kind of just scaling up on that map. And I guess that's the name of the game of what YFP is kind of doing. Just trying to suss out where the actual hit was going to be, because there's not too many of these fake outs that's really happening on the A site. Yes, they are trying to do like a lot of mid control, but then there's not too much of breaking utility on the B side main or the A side main, that those players anchored within the site kind of just stay there and not really force their hand and really peek out in these moments of like, oh crap, I gotta go and assist on the other side. And this time Blue Waters, they're just gonna, you know, go for the full gamble. 5-man hit towards the A site.
And a Fury as well off the rip here for Blue Waters. Nothing to see from this though. A little bit of team damage, but that's fine. Jake going to be revealed here though. Those going to get in there for the trade, but Thief's tucked in the corner. Ends up being back and forth stuff. Annihilation here. Zeke would be advised to hold on to this for now. It does at least clear the space like a showstopper would, and allows Blue Waters to get here into the site. No catch though off that ult.
Sonic sensors too to try to make some noise, to try to bust some people as they're trying to come across. Gonna have to do as much delay as possible. The Stellar has his own annihilation.
Welly living dangerously there, popping up to fire that shock dart. Can any sound made up on that high ground here could trigger that Sonic. Penny goes down. Beautifully done by Zeke here. Annihilation though. Oh, the angle was good. Zeke's able to get their third though. Now though, Physic hoping to get a quick kill off this. There's still so much more to do. The spike is also an issue, and they know it. They overextend. Stellar will get his posthumous kill, but Blue Waters get one back at the end of the half. And Man, he's come out with 6 attack side rounds, and they've got to be feeling good.
A huge round, and again off the back of Zeke this time, not just on util, but just fragging out. But that was high risk. On a 3v3, he played the angle out in the open by Dice. Nobody was really watching his back towards tree. He thought his teammate was watching it, but his team was just tucked around the corner. Thankfully, nobody was rotating across, and you could see when Zeke is locked in to watch that angle, he's going to be able to lock it down as well. So yeah, you mentioned 6 rounds that they have on attack. It's a great start because, again, I feel that this still favors the Euro composition on the defensive side head-to-head in these comps. We'll have to see if Stellar has a game plan to play around this, and it starts off here with YFP going for their own death ball towards this A site.
I mean, I'm starting to think already about when the operator gets in the hands of the defender, right?
Yeah. Stop
his contact hits. Going to be Jake's, control util is going to be stretched pretty thin. Timing here! For those told, can they get more? Right clicks would have been good, but P6 able to bring them down with a headshot. Jake that was really hurt, and that is extremely. Oh no! Everybody sit and wait.
And all of them just removed the dart as well, so they got the 4 audio cues that all 4 players are there for YFP. Although still plenty of Valorant left in this round. But because they have gotten 0 map control at this point, they have to scale with the least noise as possible. And the more that you do that, the more you're not going to have enough time to plant towards the B site. So they're going to go for the latter, the other option. Just a stop and go, a re-hit towards the A site. Leverage the camera that Thief has once they're ready to re-hit. But there's still 4 players in blue here.
So now you can easily get out of tree. It has to be re-smoked in that position. Bob here playing from heaven. A little bit of aim labs time. I've played this exercise more than once. Nicely done by Blue Otters there, holding it down. Again, that defensive util timing pretty nasty there from Zeke. And it means that YFP can't use the deadlock wall to stop a rotating from tree.
This is a nice.
And that was such a huge gamble though for Zolstol.
Yes.
Such confidence to push outside of that smoke at the very beginning. Look at if Zolstol dies, who else is there? Nobody really, right? So it's just going to have to be, okay, we lose Zolstol in the process. I'm going to throw a wall. I might get pushed, but then I'm just going to have to try to stall as fast as possible. But they could have broken the timing as Zolstol fell instantly. So it worked out. High risk with a high reward. They win the pistol round, a second pistol round under their belt for Blue Water. And they can play a 9-tie eco with an outlaw looking down towards middle. And for YFP, it seems like it's orb control at the very beginning here because Physic is already very close to a Hunter's Fury. They want to control both extremities to grab both of these orbs and potentially just try to go for a death ball into B for a plant.
Yeah, Bob instantly getting a scope weapon in her hand. She knows it's going to be contact city for YFP if they try to go over towards this B side. They might eventually get a drift over here from one of these extra Blue Waters players. It's just Shondex saying the strike here with Welly.
Got the orb.
Spam there through that cyber cage.
Hit. Physic's now 2 away.
That's a smoke. You cannot see through that. It is designed to obscure your field of view.
One
Bob,
enemy remaining.
that is the purpose of that
Spike
mechanic.
down B.
Okay, we are just we are ignoring that. We are moving on. Thief eventually finds the head there. Bob chimes in. And there it is. Blue Waters get the dream start. After winning the attack side pistol, doing the same on defense here. Getting themselves up to a healthy lead that YFP have to chase on offense.
I thought your reaction to that kill just reminded me of James Bartle back in like 2016. He's playing on a Game Boy time. You can't do that.
love me a bit of a JZFB throwback. I saw him on the plane the other day. He was doing well. I think he had 6 Rolexes on his wrist though. But
so I think he's definitely doing well.
Yeah.
Lots of shoes, lots of watches, lots of guns. He's doing good. Nonetheless, though, so are Blue Water. They're able to capitalize on a nice little anti-eco and almost an entry for the first one here, but that weakens up the site. The TP goes out, but there's still 2 players there on the defensive side.
Sending the ping down. Then as they get into the cloud burst there, and Challengers is not going to draw a beat on them. Physic here, I mean, this just seems excessive at this point. Well, he just having to dodge and dance away from the shots of the Hunter's Fury inside that boathouse. Yeah, well, yeah. It's a pretty inauspicious round for Blue Waters. Didn't start great, and it's not going to end any better, folks. This is YFP on an important buy round, potentially keeping every gun into the next.
Which would be huge. But now with the wall being thrown, I don't know if that was heard by Bob at the very beginning. I guess she saw it after she TP'd out and realized that, okay, well, the attackers are technically not going to push through the defender spawn to exit. So they're going to try to find the exits on the B main, which is a great read. Thing is, they don't have the best weapons for it.
right.
Bob does.
Penny walks into Bob. That'll at least be something here. Of course, Blue Waters
Last
don't mind
player
much about money.
standing.
They can go buy up later on here. But it will overall end up being a pretty clean match. I guess, yeah, YFP has so much about getting the guns away. I guess any economic damage that can be done is worthwhile, but Blue Waters will be armed to the teeth in around 16.
Make them regret their
You even
choice
see here,
of
Bob was
profession.
trying to avoid, after missing the shots from the smoke, no shenanigans this time around. And she was just trying to pull back to die from Spike, most likely, to not give an extra ult orb away. And it looks like somebody was able to pick it off. So somebody here, you maybe call it like an overheat from having physics with a Hunter's Fury, but I think they hurt the Owl Drone. They wanted to make sure that the catch Welly towards the back and to confirm the round 2, right? Because this is also potentially one of those games where YFP feel like they don't have full control of this map yet, and the IGLing from Stellar is good, but
Revealing
maybe
area.
just not the rounds that they are expecting here on how it finishes. So you are making sure here that you're trying to close that gap as possible and try to leverage other people to get ults here, which Stellar is very close to.
Stella gets the Sonic down just in case there was an attempt for the defenders to fight out of A main.
Enemy.
Up here, a little bit frustrated. Them off the line. They're a glass cannon right now, so they can't take the risk. That is a pretty bloody massive Owl Drone, all things considered.
Yeah. Even Bob's trying to find the timing too, just before the Owl Drone pings that she could try to get a shot. But great timing for YFP
Here.
to stay patient and try to punish people overextending to regain map control.
Bob trying to get back into position to make this operator relevant, but YFP now putting all their eggs over towards mid and B side of the map. Thief, though, always reliable in a moment like this. Might have heard Bob
No more
spawn, but
secrets.
Easy.
Welly, patient, holding the line.
Thought he had the timing to cross over the camera, heard like the jump spot on the fountain. Was like, hey, I have a timing. She didn't even spot me. Literally, you know, there was Welly just around the
30
corner.
seconds left.
Scanning ahead.
And that hurts. Still though, YFP gonna commit to the site now. They're basically priced into this here. Bob never got a chance. Oh, she never had an opportunity to make use of the operator. Spam down through a dark cover. And that's what going glass cannon gets you sometimes in rounds like this. Blue can't, I mean, Sonic probably can't play off the trap wire here, but wait for the locating the strong site. Time is getting short here. Stella goes down. This could be very ugly. Physic drops. And it's all up to Jake here. He's too far away from the site to make an impact. And there it is, YFP. Run out of gas a little bit, but the money situation for Blue Waters has been better.
Definitely. And they, in their gun round, they still put a lot into the buy. Putting the glass cannon on an op. You're even seeing here that Shondex that won't have the best of buy as possible. Maybe like a Spectre, maybe a Judge even, because he's playing a Cypher, which would be kind of good. And Zolstal's kind of being selfless. They're going to be the one playing the Judge instead, which is totally fine. Judge on any site. We've seen Sadak do some crazy things on a Judge as a KO, especially towards Tree. And we've also seen what Zolstal's able to do towards main when they throw their own smoke and play around it.
Damn, bro, no mention of the Jogamo Bucky. I see how it is, man.
I
That's
mean,
crazy.
it's a Bucky. It's not a
Cambodian
Judge.
erasure, bro. That's cringe.
It's a Judge. It's a Bucky. It's not the same weapon. What you think?
Thought he took shotgun shenanigans on the A side. That would definitely be on the short list. So far, this hold has been pretty good. Jake gets there, though, with the Judge. So they're still trying to play through from 3, much like Sadak that you referenced.
Oh, you mean? Don't you mean Jogimo with the Bucky?
I don't know. He did run onto the site with updraft. You know.
Yeah.
He just hates Jogamo. That's crazy. I'll let him know.
I love Jogimo. What are you talking about? Now you're just gaslighting me. Stellar spotted though, and the post plant is not going to be the best. You still have an operator for Bob. She could use flashes and decoys that can help out, and this hat is actually going to help out now for the defensive side.
That's an interesting
Player
right
standing.
outside here. Beautiful. Zostal jumps into it. Normally, you'd probably just smoke a main there to try and cut the player off, but Zostal's holding a Judge, says, no, I need to kill the player on Gen. Nice looks.
I was going to say nice job, Jogimo, but I apologize. It was actually Zolstal with that Judge to get the kill.
Yeah.
They're going to pop out a Blade Storm, something like that after, right? Updraft.
Damn,
What
bro.
is that? From Red.
He's going to have words with you, man. You didn't mention him when applicable in a Valorant challenge broadcast. That's crazy.
I'm sorry, Jogimo, if you're somehow watching this.
That goes there.
All right, so looks like we got a trap for Yao Ming, but also for the Jet Dash. We're playing full anti-Jet Dash here for the defensive end of Blue Waters here with Shondex. And with Sonic Sensors too. There is a lot of util around this because they're expecting such a huge flood around the double ults.
In goes Bob, C4. Right away, Zostal realizes it's about to get hectic. Nice little correction there, but ends up being a 1-for-1 affair. Zeke up front and personal there. Interesting spot to be. Now going to be caught inside. Passing like two cocoons in the night. They are. Zeke eventually goes down to that. Deadlock ultimates for everybody, but more rounds here for Blue Waters.
I don't know why that was so funny to look at, but it did definitely get chaotic. But this time not towards the A side. But I mean, still the counter is very good that you had from Blue Water. On one end, you're trying to funnel everybody towards the A side if they're afraid of a Euro ult, and then secondly, the Euro plus the Omen was such a huge combination that it didn't allow people to move through this own cage right here. Look at that. The flash hit 3 people. You stay within the cage, there's nothing you can do.
And look where Zeke is playing from. They are playing, I guess they were trying to probably hold the off angle there for Zosol. And they end up still finding a huge pick off and then the annihilation occurs. All right, well, YFP can buy into this route, but definitely need to be a little bit more careful about it. Hunter's Fury, Blade Storm at the ready. So a neural theft at their fingertips. This is about as good as it gets for YFP, a round that they can't afford to lose at all.
Yeah, because if not, that's pretty much econ broken. Maybe with bonus, you have half shields or something like that. But YFP has to be clean here within the next round. Not only win the next round, but they have to win it cleanly with hopefully bringing a lot of weapons into the next. They have ults to work with to support that fact, to support that objective as they're trying to push into mid.
I love this full retake on B. Attention over towards mid. Penny, though, plays off that beautiful paranoia laid down by Jake. There's still a layer of defense there in Welly, but not in a good position to do too much here, and YFP starting to snowball things a little bit more. And yep, those ultimates are coming out.
One enemy remaining.
No need for any more, though. YFP have done more than enough.
Here.
And it's honestly a bit of a funky
30
situation when it comes
left.
to economy for Blue Waters. There've been some very expensive rounds for them, even though they've won them out.
Can't get cleaner than that either. That's a very good round for YFP overall, and I think even the engaging the paranoia into the dash into market was a clean reaction and answer to Welly that was playing that single spot when he got the backstab onto that lurk up from Thief. So they just went for the quick play, got control of that. Look at that. Sean X can't do anything whatsoever, and that was maybe a mishap of saying, hey, I've played that position before, just be careful for that. But after that kill, YFP had full control of the whole map. You could go anywhere you want. And by the way, I stand corrected. Apparently, it's also a Physic that's calling for YFP now, not Stellar. So now you have a double IGL that could work things out too for mid-round calling or whatnot. So that's extra brains. But so far, the brains are not enough as they're still falling behind trailing behind by 3 against Blue Water here.
Yeah. Obviously, this is definitely the point we want to call a timeout. Blue Waters, they don't really want to let YFP start to run away from this because you have seen, obviously, 3 out of the last 4 rounds won by Blue Water, but they've all been really tight. There haven't been any particularly clean ones there. So that has meant their economy has started to get eaten into. And YFP, of course, made themselves take 4 guns out of that prior round. It gives them a real foundation here. They're going to have to fight hard for this, make no mistake, but having Hunter's Fury to work with here, alongside Blade Storm, gives them a ton of options. Last round, great mid-emphasis, and it was actually a setup for Blue Water designed to counter that play. They still got the better of them. We might even see a bit of a pop here aggressively. Is this a Tiles crunch?
Yeah, maybe even with a recon dart if they somehow get lucky. Just depends on the picks they're going to get. Straightforward.
Big pings. Bob might be in a position here. I don't think they realize just how far ahead she is. Oh, it's a disaster. Jake's able to shut her down, but the damage surely already done.
Thankfully, at least, silver lining is that they cannot move forward on the defensive side to pick up these weapons. So the last 3 weapons that remains here for both Stellar, or all 3, Stellar, Physic, and Jake, could still be very doable as they could wait out walls, they could wait out a default, and stay as a group here to play contact. Physic's a little bit overextended here. It's just to keep them towards the A side so the other 2 could scale up towards middle. It'll be jump spotted, though, by Zeke.
Risky business that was by Physic, though, in fairness. They respected the shock dart, backed away.
Over there.
YFP, it's a big question. Are they watching from market? Quite a few rounds we've seen I think Shondex camped up there in market. They've gone right to the back of the B side. So this little variation here might really throw YFP for
Here's
a loop.
Jogamo.
1. Like that. Updraft. Tailwind.
Blade Storm?
30 seconds left.
No, it's Omen.
Blade Storm's down
Still,
at least.
One enemy remaining.
Okay.
Okay, break the crosshair placement. I do respect that, but that doesn't really account for another player to be there.
escape.
So YFP break their way in, but they're at a disadvantage where you cannot be just breaking it for 1. And Blue Waters get to map point here, Van Silly. a much slower round. That one really went down to the wire.
Yeah, I did not expect that we're going to have some sort of a Hunter's Fury. And I'm going to have to say it's a blind Hunter's Fury because that was popped even before the recon dart actually got a ping on top of that. And I think it's just a full bait because somebody's going to look up and try to break it. They're not going to be ready for the Hunter's Fury coming out, and then they can't escape. And it worked because Thief died. You pick up a weapon right away, and then you just kind of keep YFP in middle with no map control, no idea what to do, no extremity control, and they just keep walking to a trap. Beautiful 50 round. Thankfully, YFP still has money. They have an Odin to rush towards this B site, all 5 of them together. And Welly is going to be tested now with Shondex.
Penny over the top there, though, gives away their position. Just avoid the arming trip. Bob's having to get rid of Jake. Here we go. Lucky time, baby. So many players to shoot at, and Penny gets them all.
How? Outdrafted towards here, whiffed all of his blade storms. There's 2 guys. Well, at least one of them had his back towards turned towards them.
Hey,
but Shondex should have had that.
That's the spirit of the Schmeeg right there, bro.
I guess so.
Don't worry about hitting the blade.
This guy's still going old school, man. You missed 2021 Valorant, do you?
Oh, yeah. Okay, that is a teammate. Good roll. We've got 4 players grouped up here. YFP anchored in the side to try and retake this. Clone, of course, thrown out there, mostly ignored. A big paranoia here. Could be a difference maker. But the recon bolt's a problem. Time starting to run short. Penny with the tailwind going to get into the fight and then out instantly. A free kill, and Bob going to have to walk away and try and maintain this operator. Still, back and forth economic situation here for these Blue Otters, and the scope weapon will be dropped.
At least it was a thrifty that Blue Otters won 2 rounds ago, so they're still going to have a pretty decent buy. They could hash shield 2 players potentially, and the rest to still go for some rifles. Unless they're just going to go for a buy for the next. And Guardian comes out for Shondex. Welly probably is just going to save his classic. They're going to be okay to buy for the next round. But this is still going to be a tough ask. Looks like Penny's going to play operator on the attack side. They're trying to make control from the very beginning. These pings to watch out. I'm wondering this is some default. Owl drone out from middle to try to scale up towards tree and also towards middle. But here's the dimensional drift instead. That gets a lot of info.
I don't know how much Bob already sees there, but she opts to pop out of that anyway and take the fight. Okay. That allows the battle lines to be drawn quite far forward for the defenders, and Nazik can throw down a barrier to bleed even more time off the clock. This would obviously put YFP at under a minute by the time they'd be able to walk up into B again. And now we need to re-clear so much of the map. Tree definitely seems to be the weakest point, but that site is littered with Cypher util.
I think it's still a great call, though, for Bob to get out of that elbow. We'll talk about that in a second. A push here coming out from YFP, a split, but there's still double Sentinel util smothering this A site.
Shock dart to keep Jake at bay here. Thief up on Heaven. Well, now they know exactly what the last 2 players are. They're in hell, but Welly's able to find one already. The Ares rings out. Zeke now gets into position up on upper, and this is going to be it. Stella has to go up against a wall of bullets. And last only a few seconds, it's going to be Blue Otters to take away the first map in the series.
That is crazy. Another one of these rounds where you don't think that you're going to have some sort of aggression coming out from the defensive side because they have lower buys, yet they come out with another trap this time around, and it works out well. I got to say, I like the fact that Bob went out of that TP. You mentioned it. We don't know. We're not too sure what she saw, but the paranoia, she saw that come through. They forced out the cloudburst so she could get out of it and get a spray. Only got one, but got great value for the rest of the team to set up here to win that round.
I mean, it's a 1-for-1 that gives you a ton of space, right?
Yes,
so you
100%.
can definitely see why that's worthwhile here. That was the map pick, of course, of Blue Otters. They take it away, and coming up next will be YFP's Sunset pick, so don't go too far. It's our last game of the day, and this is an elimination match in our Challengers Stage 3 tournament.